And we are live. Hello, happy Saturday, everybody. My name is Chris. This is my channel, We Love Comics. And I actually never thought I would see the day that I would be purchasing a new comic. Now, new within the last couple of weeks. So it's not anything that came out this week or anything. At least I don't know, because I bought it on eBay. I bought 2 books. I'm going to show them to you. I already unboxed them, because it's not that big of a deal. So while I'm waiting for people to come in, I want to remind people that my live auction is tomorrow, Sunday, February 18th at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. You still have today or tomorrow morning to contact me if you would like to make an offer on any of the books and try and get the book before the auction, so you don't have to worry about somebody else doing the same thing or being outbid and spending more than you could have by waiting for the live auction. So if you watched the video I did last week, the title of it is, I believe, sneak preview for the live auction, you can contact me either today or tomorrow morning. You have until 12 o'clock in the afternoon tomorrow if you would like to make an offer on any of the books. 2 people did that, and 4 books have been sold because of it. So the Blondie #1 has been sold. Amazing Spider-Man #194, First Black Cat, has been sold. Hulk #180, the first cameo appearance of Wolverine, has been sold. And Fantastic Four #2, which was the first appearance of the Skrulls, has been sold. So check that out. Also, if you want to make a comment on the AI art, I always appreciate your comments. I know there are, well, I only know of one person that says they hate AI art. They must be an artist or something. I don't know. But hey, everybody has their entitlement and right to their own opinion. But if you look on the bottom of the screen, and no, not at what I think you're looking at, shame on you, but you'll see a couple of different type of major key, what I would consider my own personal holy grails, but they are holy grails, that I'm looking to acquire via trade. So if you have any of the books that you see scrolling by, or know anybody that has maybe an extra copy of AF-15, which if you do, my hat's off to you. Please contact me at peacefulfeelings@yahoo.com. Watch the video I made back in, I think, in November of last year, where I have like 30 to 35 all graded books that I would be willing to trade to get one or any of those books. I mean, books like Hulk 181, Daredevil #1, Amazing Spider-Man #14. So there's a lot of key books. And if it takes 5 books, 10 books, or all 30 to get one of the books, as long as I feel it's a fair trade, I would love to do it. So please contact me. Or again, if you know anybody that has those books and is looking to get rid of one book for a bunch of, key books, have them contact me. So let me put on the video camera. There are 2 different books I'm going to show you. There are a lot of different variants of it, of course. That's modern books these days. I'm not going to go overboard with it. But I'll show you the 2 that what I purchased, what prices I got them for, and you can make up your own mind on these. Now, of course, I made sure I made deals. Now, the reason I even knew about these is, when you're watching videos, and every now and then you'll get some random recommendation that you weren't looking for. And there was a video about this particular comic, and somebody was doing a review on it, but they read the entire story. And when I saw the story and how non-SJW it was, I was like, that's interesting. That is something I would purchase. Now, this book already came out, I believe last month or so some of you probably know what I'm talking about. But I didn't know about it because, like I tell people all the time, I have no interest in agenda-driven books. And at least this particular book does not have that. I mean, they didn't even try and sneak anything. It's like I said, somebody showed page to page and read it. So I basically read the comic without actually having to open up a book to do it. And I was like, I think this is a book that many people that are like me and don't like agenda-driven material and they just want good stories, I think either you have bought it or you should buy it if you're like me and don't pay attention to the newer stuff. So before I show that, I want to thank anybody that hit the like button. I do not know, well, there are 15 people viewing. I can see that, but it doesn't show the area where there's the people that hit the like button. So you can get away with not hitting it, and I'll never know. But to those that do, I appreciate it and I thank you. But let's say hello to the people in the live chat right now, and I hope you will come in to check out the live chat. And you don't have to be a subscriber. So we've got SP Comics, always good to see you. We got Patrick Mell, Mighty Comics and Collectibles, just got finished a little while ago watching your most recent Q&A video. You're always posting videos when I'm outside feeding the cats, so I couldn't see it. Otherwise, I would have joined the chat. But always good to see you. GT Key Comic, one of my moderators, always here. Welcome. Brian Norman, thank you. Good to see you. Party Game Time, there we go. Sounds like a stripper name, but welcome. I don't think I've ever seen you here before. Let's see, Patrick Mell is here. Russell Hall, Hunting Comics, and PH Comics. So always a shout out. And speaking of which, at the end of this video, once I'm ready to close up shop, I always do a surprise subscriber shout out. You don't have to be a subscriber, but hey, if you want to hit subscribe, please do. You just have to be having a conversation or at least chatted at least once in the live chat, which also I recommend switch from top chat to live chat. This way you'll see all chats and not what I guess YouTube feels is appropriate to show you. I don't understand that, but you know, that's what we call YouTube logic. All right, so you're here for a spec book. This is a brand new book that came out in 2024. I don't know the exact time of when it came out, and I really think this is worth it. Now, I didn't get the regular cover A. It did increase in value big time. People are selling this book already for like $60, $70. I think for a regular cover A, it may not be worth it long term, but who knows? I mean, you know, the people dictate value, not the other way around. You know, the comic places or the stores, whatever, don't dictate value. The people do. It's what you're willing to pay for it. So I got 1, 2, 3, 8 copies of this book. 4 are the trade variant, and 4 are the virgin variants. So let's show this first one. All right, let me put the video camera so I can see it, so I can match it up. SP says I don't get the hype of Peach, of the Momoko. You know, art is subjective. I don't really find. I think it's a she. I don't like that artistry myself as well. But hey, art is speculative. You're gonna have people that like things that many other people don't like. You know, some people just like maybe oddity kind of stuff. As I say, to each their own. But the comic is Ultimate Spider-Man #1. Now this one is the Alan, I think it's Qua variant. There's a trade variant and a virgin variant, which was limited to 1,000 copies. Now, this is an alternative version of Spider-Man, but to give a synopsis of it, or to give an idea of what's in it, it's an alternate future where Peter Parker, so it's Peter Parker, who is married to Mary Jane, has children, but in this universe, he didn't become Spider-Man. Long story short, it ends up the villains of that universe, led by the Kingpin and the Green Goblin, made it, for whatever reason I'm not going to get into, that the superheroes never acquired their powers. But Peter Parker has this, like, almost like a spider sense without having it, that his life somehow should be different. And in the end, they find out the plan of trying to get rid of, keep heroes from ever being created. And there's an interesting way he ends up getting to become Spider-Man. And I won't reveal that here for those who want to read it. But it was a very fascinating read. I like what they were doing with it. And they weren't doing a version where it was some transgender, alien, bisexual, female, Protestant Cabbage Patch Kid that was all powerful and was a Mary Sue. It wasn't that. That is going to make this book very demanding because, if you like what I just mentioned all in that breath, congratulations. Again, artist is, the beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So if you like that kind of stuff, wonderful, but that is not the majority of people. And you can tell with all these agenda-driven movies and TV shows, there's a reason why they're not financially succeeding, because the majority of people are not going to go with this, what I would call trash. But you may call it treasure. I'm not here to judge. So this book, in my opinion, whatever version of it you get, in my opinion, is absolutely a good book to get. Now, Hunting Comics says, Chris, the Ultimate Spider-Man first appears in Ultimate Invasion #1. His first appearance is on the second print. Ultimate Spider-Man #1 is good to have, but try to get copies of Ultimate Invasion #1, second print. All right, so that's good. See, I didn't really know about that. Here's the other book I got. Now, well, let me tell you the price I paid. This person was selling the sets for $29.99 for the set. Best offer. So this was when I first saw it, and probably when people just started recognizing this book. It might have just come out recently. Like I said, I don't pay attention to new books. But I did an offer, a best offer. And I said, you know what? If they say no, I'm not even going to get the book. But if they say yes, I'm going to do well on this. I asked if they would take $15 each for the set. Well, $15 for the set instead of $29.99. So basically, I asked for a 50% discount. And I bought 4 sets for that price, and they agreed. So after eBay taxes, I paid $9.02 per book. And just to show, I have, like I said, several copies of the book. So 4 sets total. Now, this is the other one I thought many people may not think about, but I never knew about the Ultimate, what is it? Ultimate Invasion #1, second print. So I'll have to look into that, but I'm sure many people know about that as of this point, so I'm sure it's not cheap. But the other thing I thought I would get, because there have been times where this kind of version of what I'm about to show you actually will do quite well, and many people overlook it. So this is the other one I got. And this is not the first print of this book. This is Marvel Previews number 26. This came out in November, I believe. Yeah, it says November to January 2024. So all the way back in November, which I believe would even predate, if I'm correct, but correct me if I'm wrong, Hunting Comics, this may have come before Ultimate Invasion #1, the second print. Now, this is a preview book, so it will not be counting as their first appearance, but it would be like books like the preview for Ultimate Fallout 4, or the preview of, the first appearance of Harley Quinn, stuff like that. They do have value, and many people overlook this. So I bought 5 copies of this. Now, they were selling these, I'll tell you exactly what they were selling them for, so this way I won't have to guesstimate. I'd rather tell you. So let's go to my purchase history really quick. Give me a second. And again, I want to thank all the people that have hit the like button. I'm assuming somebody did it, even though I can't see it at the moment. But they originally had this. Now, I'm sure this person probably got these for free, because they were free previews. But that doesn't mean they don't retain value. They must have lowered it at that point, because it was like $15 they were selling them for. But I did a best offer. They must have redone it recently. I paid $4.74 a piece for these books. So if the person, got them for free, he made basically about $5 on each one. But if you've ever seen preview books of other popular characters or books, some of them go into the hundreds, if not the thousands, especially when graded. So this might be one of those sneaky comics that most people wouldn't think about. So I got, like I said, 5 copies of them. So at $4.74 each is with shipping and handling and with eBay taxes. So it came out to like $23.79 a piece, which came out divided by 5, $4.74. So I thought it was absolutely worth the chance on, because I really believe, and I trust my instincts, I really believe this comic is going to do well. And they are doing all other Ultimate Universe versions, like Ultimate versions, Black Panther and stuff. I don't think I'm going to get into the rest, although you may want to consider it. I'm just a huge Spider-Man fan, and I really liked the version that they did. And when I say it's non-agenda driven, it's non-agenda driven, because trust me, if it was one where they started out in a certain way and then halfway through the book it's, you find out that Peter Parker is, unilaterally fluid, we'll just say, I wouldn't recommend the book, and I wouldn't have purchased it. So those are the 2 books. So I want to give a special shout out to Huntin' Comics to talk about Ultimate Invasion #1, the second print. So I will absolutely look into that. But I'd love to know what you guys think about this comic. Is it something you think is worth it if you bought it or you read it? Am I correct with what I was telling people? Do you have the same opinion? And maybe things are starting to turn around. I think this is just the start. Maybe they're testing the waters. Like, for example, with the movie Deadpool, I'm sure they're going to throw in a couple of little agenda things here and there, but I think they're going to be very subtle, and they're going to concentrate on giving the fans what they want. But I really think that might be a one-and-done situation, because I've already heard about X-Men 97, which I was actually really looking forward to. And then I heard, there are gender-fluid people in there, and just other ridiculous things where, they have to ruin it. They have to ruin it. So I'm not sure if they're ready to really be changing course. But I think if they start making, like, for example, and this is why I was torn with whether I want to give Disney my money for Deadpool, is if that movie, for example, makes $1 billion and it's not SJW driven, I truly believe that Disney might start rethinking the direction they're trying to go with this DEI quote-unquote inclusion, which I always love when people talk about inclusion by telling other people that they're not included. I mean, the irony is just so sweet tasting. So I like the cover. SP Comics says the same thing. Chris, the UI #1 second print, 30 to 80. Yeah, I kind of figured. At this point, I'm probably not going to spend that kind of money on a new book. I would rather buy an older book. I mean, if I find or can make a deal, I'll absolutely do it. So if the cheapest one is 30, I won't pay more than between 15 and 20. And if I can't get it for that, I'll just say, hey, I missed out, and just say good riddance, and I'll just be happy with the books I have. And I'm sure, like that sneak preview, if that book ends up being a massive success, these Marvel previews at one point might end up being a $100 book, $200 book, and for less than $5 investment, I absolutely think it's worth it. Victor, it's nice to see you. New person in there. Live chat, so welcome. Says, I hope Elon Musk buys Disney. That would be nice, but I wonder how many companies is he going to buy? Because I'll tell you right now, if he bought Disney, I would want him to buy YouTube. I mean, YouTube has been screwing me, and not even in a good way, and not even asking my permission, since about 2014. Especially on my other channel, because I can't make videos anymore, and I explained it in a previous video why. It's the most ridiculous thing. But I would love Elon Musk to basically buy every company these days. Buy Bud Light. I mean, I don't drink, but, buy Bud Light. Buy California. I mean, that you want to talk about a sinking ship. I feel bad for anybody that lives in California. Um, and to think people like Bill Maher like Gavin Newsom, I mean, Bill Maher is halfway awakened but still has TDS, which I'm sure you know is Trump derangement syndrome. Whether you like Trump or not, I'm not here to do political stuff, but I mean, it's just ridiculous how some people are just so easily programmed and stuff. So people don't realize Musk buying Twitter, which is now X, people don't realize that he basically saved humanity. And yeah, it's that serious because it's now getting more and more proven that a lot of truthful information was totally being suppressed, which is agenda driven. If you think about it, that's borderline, and I'll just say borderline, people being traitors that work in all governments throughout the world. And yeah, I guess this is turning political right now. So I'll end it because I know there will be people that'll get upset. And, you know, I stick to my values and my principles. So if somebody gets upset, all I can say to them is you're better off going to channels that will be an echo chamber for what you need. I am a free thinker. I think there are people, and there were people leaving some kind comments the other day saying that when they want to hear somebody's opinion on YouTube, as far as at least the comic book community, that they trust. The person said there's a bunch of people that, you know, wait for me to say something, and I'm very honored and humbled to hear stuff like that. Now, I don't know how many people will agree with that statement, but I am very much into hearing all information and deciding what works best for me, not just hearing one side and just, even if it's from someone or something that I like, because even Elon Musk, I like many things he's done, but I don't like the fact that he wants to install chips into human brains, because even if he had the best of intentions, eventually he will pass away and somebody will take along his work, and they may not have the same point of view as Elon did. So when you have something like that, I mean, look how easily they track your cell phone and your laptop and all the information they get. Just imagine somebody having a chip installed that can be accessed and hacked and could read your thoughts or change your thoughts or change how you do things. I mean, most inventions that end up being potentially devastating start out with being, you know, good. But if you've ever heard the phrase drowning in good intention. So my thing is, I always tell people, be free thinkers, think for yourself. Because like I said, Elon Musk has basically saved humanity with buying Twitter, because it is that important, free speech, and being able to which I just said, contradict what other people say is truth. Because if you know anything about science, science is not an exact science. There's always somebody, for every scientist that says something is working a certain way, there's another scientist that will give you the exact opposite. So anybody that says trust the science, I would say to them, well, which science are you referring to? The ones that are in your echo chamber? Or are you listening to all sides to get all information so you can draw your own conclusion that's connected with your own research? And Life is Good just did a super chat, so thank you for that. He says, just putting a nickel in the offering plate. Well, that was very nice of you, and it's definitely appreciated. So I try and tell people to think for themselves. Don't be afraid to question anybody. My loyalty is to those who are loyal to me. And if that person is loyal to me and all of a sudden becomes unloyal, I don't stay loyal to that person. Because if they change, then I have to change with them. So nobody except Jesus is Jesus, and nobody except the devil is the devil. In other words, there are evil people in the world, but I'm sure at one point they did good or had the chance to do good. And there are plenty of people that have very good intentions that end up doing something that could end up destroying or damaging the world. I mean, look at Oppenheimer, who's the person that is the sole responsibility pretty much. I mean, you always have other people to help. But the nuclear bomb, you know, look what that's done. And, tracking collars, like they say, you could put a chip into a dog or a cat, or one of your pets, and say, well, if they ever get lost, if you have this tracking device in them, you can find them, and yay. Or, if you put a chip into a child and they run away or they get kidnapped, you can trace them. So it sounds great until somebody nefarious comes along and uses it for other unethical purposes. And that's why I always say, make sure you are not afraid to question anyone. Be loyal to your family, to your whatever God you want to worship, and those around you who treat you the way you would treat them, and you'll be okay. But too much of this world is always about thinking, I have to be loyal because I like this person. I don't want people to even be loyal to me if they don't want to. I mean, I'll say many things that people that may like me may not agree with, and that's okay. What's not okay is if you bash somebody and attack somebody for their right to have their own choices. I had a person the other day, we went back and forth a little bit, and I was actually being very friendly but very direct about how I felt this person was wrong, because they were talking about saying how the Overstreet price guide dictates value of comics, and they cannot believe that people would pay over Overstreet. And I'm kind of like, well, who is Overstreet? Why do they get the ability to say, okay, this particular comic is worth $100? Well, what reasoning do they have behind that? And why can't somebody else say, even though it's worth $100, I've wanted that book for the longest time, 100 other people want that book, so I'm willing to spend $101 on it, or $201, or $501. This person has no idea how capitalism works, because capitalism is based on supply and demand, and the people are what dictate value, not one bureaucrat or one business. So yes, Overstreet is something that people respect and can use as a guideline, but it is not religion where the people of that company say, we know better than you, so this is what the book values as. That is ridiculous. If they valued a book at $1 million and nobody wanted to pay for that because they didn't think it was worth it, then what good was that evaluation? The people dictate the market. But what happened was I tried to explain this to the person, and he kept doing nothing but insulting me. And after like the fourth time of him insulting me, I just blocked him. Because it's like, there's one thing I've learned, and this is, I don't know if it's the direct quote, but when you have a conversation with a fool, you learn one thing only, that there are two fools in the conversation. So you cannot change the mind of somebody that is just so shallow in their thinking to think alternative. So my thing is, don't waste your time. But you can become, because I originally, like I said, for years, back in like 2008, I was a complete Democrat. I used to watch Rachel Maddow. I used to watch Chris Matthews. I used to religiously put on MSNBC and believed everything. I thought Obama in the beginning was probably going to be the savior. And then I started researching, and I started learning stuff, and I started questioning things. I started saying, okay, let's get all the facts and not just some of the facts that may just fit my narrative. And that's when I started shifting my ideas to the point where today I am loyal to those who are loyal to me, and that can change at any moment if somebody goes from a promise made to a promise broken. Even people that are diehard Trump lovers, and I don't have a problem with Trump, but remember, when in 2016, one of the biggest things that probably got him elected was when Hillary Clinton and Trump were debating, and I don't remember what she said, but Trump's response was, because you'd be in jail. Well, she never ended up in jail. So it's nice to see there are people who will make promises and tell you what you want to hear and then never deliver on them and use nothing but excuses. That is not a person that deserves 100% loyalty. So you always have to watch everybody and not be afraid to question. You cannot, you can, but you should not just jump on a bandwagon. Because remember, there's a saying I've said many times. If you have 99 pounds of ice cream and you add 1 pound of poop, what do you have? You have 100 pounds of poop. Because it doesn't matter that 99% of it was delicious ice cream. The 1 pound of poop ruins the whole thing. So that's where you have to be careful. So let's read this really quick, and then we'll do the surprise subscriber shout-outs. Hunting Comics says, Chris, if you're willing to risk some backlash, you are needed on Instagram to provide different messaging than usual comic people who say the same thing without leaving room for different opinions. I don't have Instagram. I don't even have a Twitter account. I think I opened one, and I've never really used it. I don't remember the last time I used it. I don't even use my Facebook anymore. I hate social media because, see, I'm Gen X, and I've talked about this before. Gen X grew up to where if you had a problem with somebody, you went face-to-face and you told them. To me, the internet, where there are people who are nasty and cruel and say the most ridiculous things, are cowards to me, because 90% of them would never do it to somebody's face. And I find people that hide behind a computer to say nasty things, I find them very weak, and I find them cowardly. My thing, this is the advice I can give. The truth tends to be, especially these days, the truth tends to be unpopular. But if you notice, the people who changed the world throughout history have not been the majority of the people. It has always been either a single person or a select few that change the world. Because it only takes one strong person to say, no, this idea is wrong, and here's why, to all of a sudden shift the reality that the people have been in for so long. You know, there was a time where the world was convinced by the church for hundreds of years that the world was flat. And Galileo came along. They also were saying that the earth was the center of the universe and the sun and everything rotated around it. Well, Galileo came along and said, no, the earth is not the center of the universe. The sun is the center of our solar system, and our earth goes around it, and our earth is round, not flat. And he was imprisoned for the rest of his life until he died. But how many people these days, I mean, you get some that say it, but how many, are the majority of people talking about a flat earth now? I mean, you'll get some fringe people that talk about it. But my point is, the masses just follow what everybody else is doing, because unfortunately, the majority of people are very weak-minded and easily influenced. You tell somebody some kind of story that sounds too good to be true, most people believe it. Or they say something that sounds so scary it has to be true. Many people don't question it anymore and don't ask the question why. So even on Instagram, if you have a bunch of comic book commentators saying ridiculous things, if you focus on it, you're giving them your energy, which makes them more valid. If you feed a starving dragon, it's going to continue to want to feed. So my advice, like, the worst thing to do is to go to a channel that you hate. And I get so many of my trolls that used to do it. I don't get that much anymore, but I still get them from time to time. To go to somebody's channel that you hate to leave comments or thumb it down, because you're bringing them traffic. Traffic brings them money. It gives them an incentive. Why do you think there's so many prank channels and the most ridiculous people on TikTok? Because they know, even if you hate them, that you're going to go there to hate watch. Even if you do it for 2 seconds, most of the time there's going to be an advertisement. So you cannot hit a thumbs down until after the advertisement. So you've given them money, which gives them incentive to keep going. It's like you having a spoiled child that every time they cry, you give them a candy. Well, what do you think that kid's going to do for the rest of their life? They're going to cry to get what they want. So if there are people on Instagram or X or whatever platform, and they're not saying things that you agree with, like I said before, when you have a conversation with a fool, the only thing you realize is there's two fools in the conversation. You're not going to fix stupid. So if they don't say things that you like or you agree with, and they're saying the most ridiculous things, my recommendation is, instead of having people like myself or others try and convince them, because you're not going to for the most part, ignore them. Stop giving them the energy. And that's what I've done. And I'm no longer, like, I see so many people when they do a PGX video, for example, they always start out with having to apologize. Like, this is the reason why I use PGX. Like, they almost feel like they have to say it. Stop worrying about what everybody else thinks. If you like PGX, for example, use them. Don't tell people all the reasons why, like you have to apologize. Stand in your convictions. And I've learned that when I shut down my original channel, because I used to have to try and fight back with people. Now I don't care. I will speak logically, I will speak civilly, and if somebody wants to be a nasty little child on the internet, eventually I just block them or I ignore them. I no longer give them fuel for their fire to continue to burn. So what people need to do is stop having your feelings be manipulated, because it takes energy out of you. I mean, have you ever had a day where you're so mad at everything, by the end of the day you just pass out and go to sleep for probably 12 hours? It consumes energy from you. So why, with the limited amount of energy you have every day, and everybody has limited energy, because if we didn't have limited energy in this lifetime, we would all live forever. We do, but just not in this physical form. My point is, if you have limited energy throughout a day, why would you waste it on people that are going to rip it from you to give themselves more power? It's like them draining your battery so theirs gets charged. So don't give them the time of day. It may make you feel good to go to somebody's channel you hate and thumb it down, but it's not going to solve anything. It's not going to change anything. I think I have maybe 3 videos of all of my videos combined throughout the 6 years I've been, well, no, about probably 10 years at this point with this channel, not the original, that I think I have maybe 2 videos in that entire time that have 100% like ratio. So there's always going to be somebody that's going to come here. I can guarantee you there's 2 or 3 that thumb it down just by me saying it. But when has that stopped me from making a video? So they get the satisfaction of thumbing it down. I'll never even look, other than maybe as if I'm scrolling to see the analytics and it just happens to be in my line of sight. But it doesn't change anything. I don't feel bad, because what do I care about some anonymous person that comes to view my channel just to hate it? So if you're on any social network and there are people that you can tell, maybe like, for example, a CGC enthusiastic who will look the other way with all the stuff that is continuously going on with their company, and they're going to say they're going to use them anyway, or they're not going to admit that there's problems, or they're going to try and justify it and say it's minimal and it's not that big of a deal, or they just want to stay silent. You know, by their deeds you shall know them. Why would you want to attach your horse to their wagon? To what? Fight them? So they can get more views and they can have people gang up on you and you spend all of your day being angry and upset? Just walk away. Be like the Mel Gibson movie with the guy, I forget his name, where he's wearing that hockey mask and he's like talking to them with the microphone. Just walk away. Do the same thing. Just walk away. Connect yourself with people with common interests that have the same viewpoints as you. Trust me, your life will be a lot less crazy. I don't really interact. I don't go to haters' channel. There are people on YouTube, especially in the comic book quote-unquote community, that I flat out no longer respect. And some I can't say hate, because I really don't hate anybody. But there are people I just may not like as much as I would somebody else, and I would not watch their channel. I don't go to their channel to thumb them down. That's why, like, some of my haters, I don't even remember their names. So they can thumb down all they want. And I've had many people that'll pretend to be on my live show, or in the live chats or in the comment section, and pretend to be my friend, and then do sneaky things behind my back. That's on them, not me. I used to get upset or worried or concerned about that. Now I could care less. Stand on your convictions. If you have a certain way you collect comics, or you have a problem with a company doing dishonest things and doing the bare minimum to try and fix it, that's a great thing. But don't try and convince somebody else that maybe makes thousands of dollars a week selling products like CGC to people that may not know the information that we know and taking advantage of them. Don't associate with those people, and don't try and convince them otherwise. Go up to a criminal that's making millions of dollars by stealing from people that it's not good to steal, and see how long it's going to take you to convince them to change. Now, that doesn't mean it can't happen, but that has to be with somebody willing to come to you. Like with my family, I know so much stuff in life. I study things like quantum mechanics, quantum physics. I've learned a lot about alternative and different realities, different dimensions, higher dimensions, elevation, how energy really works, and things like that. And for years, I used to try and convince my friends and family about this stuff. Basically falls on deaf ears. If they ever want to contact me, then I'll talk to them. If they want to ask me about it. Because if I'm just talking to somebody who didn't ask for the question, they're not going to pay attention, they're not going to care, and they're definitely not going to retain anything that you've given them. And all you've done is waste all your time trying to talk to a wall. So don't waste your time going on these channels to thumb them down, or try and argue with them, or try and get your point across. If they want to listen, they'll come to you. If they don't come to you, that means they don't want to listen. It's like they say, if you love something, set it free. If it comes back, it's yours. If not, it was never meant to be. So what are you losing if you walk away from some kind of person or situation that made you miserable and unhappy and grouchy and frustrated? What are you really losing? Maybe you really just didn't have anything. So and that's why, for example, when somebody asked me to make that video the other day, I originally wasn't going to do it, but then I figured, you know what? I'm going to share my opinion on a generalized statement. And people kept asking, what's the channel's name? And I never said it. Now, there are people that put it in the comments section. That's up to them. But I'm not all about putting negative energy and calling somebody out. I made that mistake once, and I regretted doing it. And you can't take back what you've done, but you can fix what you do from there on. And that's why I never called the person out. And I basically just shared my thoughts. Now, people may agree or may disagree. But I don't worry about what anybody thinks anymore. Now, obviously, I'm not afraid to listen to advice or information, like getting that information about that second print. I didn't know about that, so somebody was kind enough to let me know, Hunting Comics. And if I can't get a deal, I won't get it. And I'm not afraid to walk away from a deal. And that's something I try and get people all the time to remember. Deals are always out there. And you never know. This comic could end up becoming a $100 comic. And then 5 years from now, nobody cares about it. And now it's back down to a $10 comic. So if I miss the boat, I don't want to spend too much money on something that may not have long-term appeal. It may or it may not. But since none of us have a time machine, we'll never really know. How many books have you seen that were the flavor of the month, is what I used to call it all the time, and end up nobody cares about them anymore? You know, when was the last time you saw anybody trying to get the first appearance of Punisher as the Ghost Rider? Or the first appearance of Thanos' daughter? Or the Kingpin's daughter? You know, people don't care about that stuff anymore. That's why I primarily focus now on Copper Age, Silver Age, Bronze Age, and Golden Age books, the key issues. Because those you never really have to worry. But even those, you'll have ups and downs and fluctuations. The idea is not to listen to the channels that tell you, oh, the comic book community, it's crashing, and it'll never be the same. Anybody that says that is trying to get you to click their video so they can get views and get money. Because that person tells me they know nothing about how markets work. Because if what they're saying is true, that means when we had the Great Depression back in the 30s, then it should have never recovered. They don't last forever. Things that go up, go down. And things that go down eventually go back up unless they go out of business. And that's why I stay away pretty much at this point from stocks. Because a stock can go to zero. And I've had stocks that I was buying during the whole pandemic. And you could roll your eyes when I say that. I don't care. You can believe whatever you want to believe. I never believed it from the first week of how ridiculous it was. I love the fact that they said a disease was so deadly, and yet they wanted people to go out and stand 6 feet apart, like somehow an airborne virus cannot move if you're 6 feet away from somebody. There's no breeze, there's no wind. I mean, it was just the most ridiculous con that I've seen the majority of the world fall for. And still to this day, there are people wearing masks. You're free to do and believe whatever you want. But that doesn't mean you're not free from the consequences of your beliefs, especially if they are only one-sided. If what I said angered you, then congratulations, you've been easily manipulated, because a person that free thinks would say, why did he say that? Why is he saying the things that he's saying? Let me look into it and see if I can find a conclusion that will validate the reason why he said it. Instead of saying, oh, there he goes, he's an idiot. Those are the people you can never convince. And I have family members like that I've given up on. But if they ever called me, they can call me 10 years from now and apologize for the way they acted and the way they were and ask for my advice, I'll be there in a heartbeat. But there are some people in this world that are forever lost. And it's their choice. So here we are. I thought this was going to be a quick little video, but there are a few people that like hearing what I have to say. Many people have thanked me for it because it makes them start to rethink about just life in general, which will help them collect comics better. Notice all the interesting books I've gotten. I've gotten more books this year, and it's only mid-February, than I did the entire year of 2023, where I was basically a walking corpse. I was depressed the whole year. I was going through so many different emotional roller coaster things, and it affected that I even had money to buy. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, I have been unemployed. I do not get unemployment insurance. I do not get government checks because I had my own businesses. So when you lose your businesses, they don't hand you checks, and even if they did, I wouldn't take them. But I've been unemployed since October of 2023, and yet, even though in 2023, up until October, I was employed, I've purchased more comics now, especially in the month of January, than I have the entire of last year, because I finally started putting all the things together, and instead of sticking with that depression and not doing anything about it, I learned what can I gain from the experiences I keep re-experiencing and focusing on it and learning. Now, that doesn't mean everything's cured and everything's wonderful, but what it means is if I do have a bad day, that's what it ends up, just a bad day. It doesn't become a bad week, a bad month, a bad year. And it's reflected by your actions. The universe is more powerful, and you are more powerful than you will ever give yourself credit for. Unless you just want to fall in line, be a good little lapdog, and they'll hand you a couple of little rewards for being a good boy. You'll get a treat every now and then. But, like any dog, if you get too sick to the point where it's not worth their money, they'll put you down. And they'll do it without question. So, if you like my weird videos that go from what would have been a 3-minute video showing a comic book into now a 50-minute dialogue, if you like it and you want to hit the like button, that's wonderful. If you are here and you are listening and you just want to hit the thumbs down, or you go for 2 seconds to do it, by all means, hit that thumbs down harder than you've ever hit anybody, because I'd rather you hit the thumbs down than hit an animal or a family member or a stranger. So that's putting the thumbs down to a good use. So if everybody wants to hit the thumbs down, by all means, have at it. Have a great time with it. Because I'm not about absorbing anybody else's negativity. So stand in your convictions. You are the wonderful thing about having a belief is if you're smart enough, wise enough, and brave enough, you can always reevaluate a belief and even change a belief. Those that are unwilling or unable to change any belief and thinks in a infinite universe with infinite possibilities that their way is the only way, those people, you wish them great lives and you walk away from them. And if they ever want to come back and have a decent, rational conversation with you, welcome them back with open arms. But you can't fix stupid and the willfully ignorant. And that even includes comic book collectors, the ones that look the other way because it makes them money. If those are the people you want to listen to, because maybe they're popular, or maybe everybody says they're the shiznick, and they have special fancy videos, and they wear a suit and tie, for example, or say things so eloquently, if you want to follow those people and get eloquent people telling you hurtful information, especially long term, by all means, you have the right to do so. Because like I've said before, whether you believe in the devil or not is irrelevant. I'm not here to say it's a living entity. I don't care whether that is true or not. It doesn't matter to me. But if you want to think about what the devil would do if they wanted to trick you, they're going to pretend to be your best friend. They're going to pretend to give you everything you want to hear. They're going to tell you that it's okay to do the wrong thing because it makes you feel good. But ultimately, they rob you of your soul. So be very careful who you connect to with anything in life. And that is why I'm assuming there's at least one person right now still listening to this video. If you are a power viewer, which means you watch my videos from beginning to end, put it in the comment section or the live section. If you're an ultimate power viewer, that means you come here all the time, and unless something comes up or it's so long you have to break it into parts, but you listen to the video in its completion, mention you're an ultra power viewer. I know the average person will watch about 2 to 5 minutes of my video. So who knows? There might be many people that say they're a power viewer and probably never watched an entire video from beginning to end. I'm never going to check, nor do I care. I go by people's word. To me, and that's why I can do business with EGS, which is now going on about 3 or 4 months, and working with PGX, which is now over 6 years, without a signed contract. And I've still been able to work with them, and they're still happy to work with me. Because I don't need a signed piece of paper. I need words. I give my word, I keep my word. And if I can't keep my word, I let somebody know about it. And that's why when I do my live auction tomorrow, and I hope you'll be there, even if it's just to watch, and I hope you will let others know about it, because it will help me with my unemployment. This is how I earn a living now. But I know that there will be people who will buy from my selection. Some will send me money orders. I already have 2 people. The 2 people that bought the 4 books. One I haven't gotten yet, but I'm not going to mention their names, obviously. But the other one, I just went to my mailbox. I haven't opened it up yet because they did a random act of kindness, so I'm going to do that probably Monday or Tuesday. They sent me money orders because they know that my word is my bond, and they will get their comics quickly and safely. And that's why I've had people, even overseas, mail me cash in the mail, knowing that I will give them the comic and the very thing that they ordered, without question. We need more people like that in the world. I'm no Jesus, I'm no saint. I'm just a regular person that has been lied to and abandoned and hurt so many times in their life. I've decided at one point in my life to make a choice. I can become those people and have one hell of an excuse to be able to justify all the wrong that I do, or I can use all the bad things that happened to me in my life as a learning tool to learn what I don't want to be, and be very thankful that somebody out there gave me the choice to be able to see something that I don't want. So in other words, I lived in New York all my life. I hated the cold weather, moved to Florida, and it's the best thing that ever happened to me. I love the fact that right now it's only 60 degrees out. Most people in Florida will be wearing jackets. I'm wearing a t-shirt and shorts, and I think it's beautiful for February. But if it wasn't for the fact that I lived in New York and had all those snowy years and blizzards and colds and pipes freezing, then maybe I wouldn't have appreciated the warmth of a 70-degree January day in Florida. So sometimes you have to be presented with what you don't want, so you, as a conscious being with free will, can make the choice. It's called variety. And the people in this world now are trying to make you all into androgynous cyborg drones to all be the same thing. Be happy you are different. Be happy that you are not a cookie cutter piece of machinery. because there's nothing special if everything is the same. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks to anybody that was kind enough to hit the like button. Let's do today's surprise subscriber shout-outs. Don't forget the live auction tomorrow is 2 p.m. Eastern Time, so that is Sunday, the 18th of February. You still can check the video I did last week of the sneak preview of the 14 out of the 18 books that are still available. You can make an offer to me by contacting me at peacefulfeelings@yahoo.com and make an offer on a comic before the auction ever starts. That's why it pays to watch my videos. But let's go with Party Game Time and Cup of Joe. Both of you are today's surprise subscriber shoutouts, which means if you have a YouTube video or a YouTube channel, you can post either a link to your specific video or your YouTube channel. Keep in mind, it does not have to be comic book related. It just has to be kid friendly. I will not promote a prank video channel. I find those very disgusting, in my opinion. So if you talk about shoes, if you talk about the weather, if you talk about clothing, if you talk about other collectibles like sports memorabilia, if you talk about how to build a pool in your backyard, I will help promote it. It doesn't have to be comic book related. If you don't have a YouTube channel or a video and you want to share something, a link to one of your social networks, you can do that instead. Or if you don't have that or would prefer, maybe you sell something on Amazon or Etsy or eBay or whatever. And again, it doesn't have to be comic book related, but I will not promote somebody selling Playboy magazines or something, or, adult toys. I will only promote anything that, if a child could see it, they'll be not shocked or ruined that they saw it. So I'm not going to promote somebody that's, selling adult videos, for example. So if you want to post a link to something you sell, you can post a link instead. So I'll let you make the choice. Always keep in mind, if you post a link in the comments section of my video or any of my videos, you will not see it at first because I've set it up so any link goes directly into spam so I can verify it first. So no troll channel or nobody trying to, sell some ridiculous adult-themed item that nobody wants by clicking on the comment section and posting garbage can never see the light of day. So I always have to approve everything, but if it's where you say it's going to go and what it is you say it's going to be, I will approve it. And then if anybody browsing the comments section sees a link, it means it has been verified to be kid-friendly. So go support other channels, because like I say all the time, that's what a community is all about. So thank you to those in the community that were watching and listening to what I had to say. If you listened to the whole thing, more power to you. Much respect. Thank you so much to everybody that participated. And yes, about 45 minutes ago, I actually showed a comic. So if you're just coming in now, I actually did show 2 comics. So hopefully you'll go check that out on the rewind. I hope you will be here at the live auction. Like I said, it does help me. It is tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Be here early. Make sure you are on the live chat, not the top chat, if you're going to place a bid. And if you want to make a offer on a book before the auction starts, you still have today and up until tomorrow at noon to do so. Otherwise, the auction will go as planned. And again, if you look on the bottom of the screen of the AI art and stop looking where I think you're looking, look at the actual words, focus, her eyes are up there. You'll see a bunch of comics that are scrolling by, things like Amazing Fantasy 15, Tales of Suspense number 39, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1, the first print. These are books I've never owned in my life and would love to acquire at least one of them. I don't have the finances unless I sold all my comics to do so, but I would rather do it via trade. So if anybody out there has an extra one of those books or just wants to get rid of them to get a bigger collection going, so maybe they have a store and it's easier to sell 20 mid to higher keys than one large key that most people can't afford, please contact me at peacefulfeelings@yahoo.com. Watch the video I did back in November showing 30 to 35 books. And if you watch any of my other videos and you see a comic that you think you would want to have added that wasn't in that video, you can at least ask me, because the worst I could say is no. So pretty much nothing is off the table. Contact me at peacefulfeelings@yahoo.com. Let's show my viewers that your dreams can come true, and it doesn't always have to be based on how many fiat currency dollars you have in your pocketbook. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you hopefully tomorrow. Hopefully you'll let others know about the auction. I could definitely use the assistance from you guys. Anyone kind enough to do that will be greatly appreciated. And don't forget, it is not you, it is not I, it is We Love Comics. Thanks for watching, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And don't forget to have your trolls spayed or neutered. Peace out, my peeps. Keep it real.